we need to first learn about the different things you can purchase. So here's a locomotive. When you do purchase it, it goes in the loco spot. And then you can also buy an ore car, or a passenger car, or a box car, or a caboose. Now what's important is a ore car and a passenger car, they can never be run in the same train. So when you're building out your locomotive with your train, you got to keep in mind that you can only run one or the other. You can't put them on the same train. But boxcar and cabooses, you can put on either or passenger. So to purchase these cars, there's there's 4 cards that can allow you to do that. The first one is the loco card. And that means an auction will be started. Now, when you do auctions, there's only 2 different cards that do auctions. They're fun. Whoever starts the auction, or actually plays the card, he directs the auction. And he directs it to the player to his left, and that player starts the bidding. So the person that picks the auction card goes last, a further advantage. In this case, a locomotive starts the auction at $8,000. And it goes around to each subsequent player. If a player passes, they're out of the auction completely. They can't come back in again. If a player wins the bid but doesn't have enough money, he forfeits all the money he has to the bank. That'll prevent him from trying to just run the market up. And then as the players go around, they bid in minimum increments of $500. Now, you can bid as much as you want any time, but the minimum's $500. Now, the player that played that card, his incentive is he can always purchase one for $15,000. So as soon as the auction gets over 15, he can say pass, and he gets to purchase his for 15 from the bank. And then, of course, whoever wins the auction pays the bank whatever they finally bid. Now, there's 3 other cards that deal with the rolling stock. Remember, rolling stock is the ore car, passenger car, box car, caboose. The first one is simply the player that picks this card decides what type of car can be purchased by all players. So he may say, hey, I'm going to say passenger car. That means every player at one time can buy a passenger car for $3,000. But if a person wanted to buy an ore car, you can't do it because that's not the car that the player indicated. And the incentive to the player that played this card is they get an additional town or mine anywhere. So that's an incentive. Similar card is a rolling stock B, but it has caboose and boxcar. And it works the same way. The player that picks this card decides what type of car each player can buy. The players do not have to buy these cars. They can simply say pass. But the person that picks it gets that extra town or mine anywhere. And then the other card is a rolling stock auction. They'll auction off the passenger car, ore car, caboose, and boxcar. The person that played the card decides which car gets auctioned in which order. They just start with the first one they want to auction off. And the auction always starts with a player to their left. And the player that picked the card gets bid last as an incentive. And notice as an additional incentive, they receive $2,000 in cash. So that's how you get your cars. Now watch what happens. Now we have to try to figure out how this works to make money. So let's start with the ore car. Now you remembered, and let's pretend that the only cars rolling stock that this player owns is a locomotive and an ore car. Now looking at our board, I'm going to move it down. They've got one mine connected with track, and they've got the ore deposit on top of the mine. That means they can earn money for one ore car only. Now, what if the player had 2 mines connected, as you can tell here, but they only have one ore car? They still can only make money on one ore car. They would need not only another ore car, but now they need a caboose. And here's why. Here's the caboose rule. You can make money with your first revenue car, either ore or passenger, with just that configuration. But if you have a second car that could make money, it can't make money unless you first purchase a caboose. And that's the rule. So the same would follow too if you had another car making money. You can't make money on this one or this one unless you've got the caboose. So you need both things. You would need to have the right amount of mines set up, one for each ore car. And then if you're trying to make more money on just one car, you're going to need that caboose to make money on the second car and then the third car. Now that boxcar is interesting. A boxcar can make money on an ore train or a passenger train as long as there's a caboose. But there's nothing on the board that that person needs. They just make money from the boxcar. They're the cheapest cars to purchase. They make a lot of money, but there's no point value for having a boxcar at the end of the game. Now let's take a look at how to make money on a passenger. You can see the two towns are connected. So this player, instead of having ore cars, let's say he had a passenger. Well, he's got two towns connected, but he's only got one passenger car. So he makes money on just the one passenger car. Well, let's say he had two passenger cars. Remember, he's got two towns connected. How much money does he make? Well, remember, it's a one-to-one relationship. So he would make money for passenger car one connected to a town, for sure. But what about that second passenger car? Because he does have two towns. Now remember, he's got to have a caboose or it won't work. The same way, he could do this configuration and he'd make quite a bit of money because he's got the caboose that now allows him to make money on those on that second and third car. Plus he's got that box car generating revenue as well. So that's how you make money. So you'll have to purchase these cars at the right time, at the right price to get set up. The next thing we're going to look at in my next video will be how to make money on all cards.